Welcome to the Be Mad Show. I'm Paula, and of course Terrence, and today we have Felix.
Yeah, my name is Felix, and I'm the HR manager and operations manager for Omaja Corporation Compassion Society.
Yes, on July 21st, we went down, and you were having a great event, and we saw some dancing, we saw some, you missed the best bebop. Was it called bebopping dancing?
Okay.
All right.
They did a fashion show.
Yes.
The women actually made the clothes, and then the children
I think we
wore
have some
it.
pictures of that too that
and
we'll
some
put up a little
singing.
bit later on in the
Great
show.
food.
Exactly. Oh, the
So
food
much fun.
was phenomenal.
I had a blast.
You're saying that you were from, say that again and slower so that everybody can understand?
Yeah, from Omaja Operation Compassion Society, which is located in Surrey.
I love that compassion.
And so what does the Compassion Society do? I mean, we've got, I'm not even going to get into the other compassions that we have in our community, but what does Omaja do as that for Surrey?
Yeah, well, Omaja is actually, like as you can say from the word, is another word for unity in the Swahili language. And Omaja is a grassroots organization which is addressing the issues of new immigrants, refugees, and newcomers to Surrey.
Right. And so how long has it been in operation?
Well, since 2003, Omaja has been existing in Surrey, and we've been having a lot of clients who are coming from different countries. Over 30 different countries are accessing services through our agency, and it's
it's not just catering directly to African people.
Yes,
it's to everyone.
Yes, it's to everyone.
Polish, Italian, Swahili, Chinese, Arabic,
all of them are
Russian.
under one roof. Yes.
Incredible. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Which is just telling us that it's not our language, it's not the difference between people that really matters. We can all live under one room. And as a community, we can grow.
It takes a
village
to raise
a child.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was good.
That was great.
Weird like this, aren't we?
Yes,
We are, totally.
It goes right there.
So, when the center opened, tell us a little bit about that and how, it's sort of grown from day one and what wonderful things you're seeing happening with the youth, because I know when we talked, it's that fitting into the community, which is a real challenge, right? Not only language barriers, but it's that expectation that you should, because you're 18, you should be able to read and you should be able to fit into school and be at the same level. And those expectations can sometimes impede people's self-esteem. And then, so let's talk about that. So what?
Well, Omaja was founded as a result of, Omaja was founded basically by Amos Kambere, who was before as well an immigrant to Canada. He's been here for decades. And what he's been seeing and other community leaders is most people who come here, refugees and immigrants, they go through a lot of trauma. They're having difficulties to access mainstream services, which are from very, very big societies in the community. So he decided to put down a strategy and started helping just clients. Omaja is practically an agency that started with very, very just more than no funding. Their first funding was just about $1,500 that they got, and it was just as a result of some help. And then all of a sudden, Omaja started developing. We are actually having just more or less grants. We don't have any federal funding to support our programs. And still yet we'll be managing in the community. And our hope is to go much more deeper to helping all immigrants and refugees who are having multiple barriers in the community.
Wow.
Yeah,
So that's, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think that, when people of like mind or experiences come together, that's when they feel most validated and connected.
Yes, exactly. Especially like if you can see from the occasion which we are having there from with the multicultural open house, you can actually see that most of these people, their compassion and just the fact that most of them have the resilience to come and sit back together. Most of these things which we are doing here in the multicultural event was more or less people just coming together, and we teamed up and we said, okay, we're going to do something to help to help that inclusion in the community, which has been something that has been missing. Although these people, they go through a lot of difficulties with their housing, with their credentials, which are not recognized here in Canada. Most of them have a lot of hardship in building even friendship within the Canadian context. which is really a major problem. And some of them do have a lot of difficulties in accessing the job market, which is really, really an issue for the family. And we've got families who have been separated as a result of more or less most of these challenges that they face in Canada.
Okay, so we know of all the great barriers that people face when coming to a new community, a new country. Because I mean, even from province to province within Canada, I even struggled with my credentials.
Yes.
So,
yeah,
really, I did, absolutely,
from Ontario to here.
Yep, I had to apply for my license to practice.
Wow,
they didn't recognize my 20 years experience plus my diploma.
Incredible.
Yeah, so it is, and you know, and
it's a money machine.
It does affect you, you know, and I did struggle with that.
Psychologically.
Like, so here I'm moving away from my family and friends, but I can't even imagine, like, at least I can speak the language, right? Yeah. So I'm very empathetic. Yeah. So let's talk about all of the great programs that you have to build those.
Yes,
we've got some pictures here that we'll actually show while you're guiding us through it.
Yes.
You did a little bit of a tour with us earlier, and I think we started off in the
child
kitchen?
Minding?
Yes,
child minding.
Child minding. That's the drop-in center.
So just take us through that tour. Right?
Yes, the drop-in center is specifically where refugees who are less than 5 years in Canada meet, and it's a drop-in center where we have a program for most of those clients who are having some difficulties. They drop their kids and they go to the literacy classes which we have, and there is free child minding, which means they don't have to pay. And next to that, we have a skills development program, which is actually helping most of these women who are sitting in the house isolated, and they want to do something as well to help in the community. We get these women together, they do some sewing, and we help them as well to write their resumes, and we help some of them to even fill out government forms. And most of these women, after they graduate from the program, they do get a sewing machine where they can use it to start their own business. And next to that, we have the children's program, which is for 6 to 12 years old. And this is a program which is actually targeting their children, because we've discovered that more or less of addressing the issue of the parents, we also address the issues of the kids.
Because we children are first generation, literally.
Exactly. So we have parents sitting at home now who have come to Canada. They are not even able to read and write. They cannot help their kids when they come back from school. So we are addressing the issues of the parents with the literacy class, and then helping the kids with their homework. So they themselves, they can be much more helpful in the community. And we have a youth program which is more or less addressing crime prevention in the community and giving them leadership skills that they themselves, they could be able to act as mentors and lead other youths in the community who really need help. Awesome. And we also have an outreach program where we go out to the community, look for most of these women and families that have newly arrived here to Canada, visit them, talk to them, and encourage most of them to come out of isolation. So we meet them. We have a series of focus groups which are operating in our society. Most is all free for them to come and access the services. And most of these people we see, we help them, and then we try to just expose government services which are available to them, and as well as advocating for some of them who are having difficulties. Because, like, for example, we've had clients who have come there and said they drop their deposit for some houses, but then the landlord, on leaving those houses, they collect their deposit. So we do we try to mediate some of these cases by helping most of those families to get their money back from these landlords. And affordable housing is one of their biggest challenges.
Yes, yes. Affordable housing is crazy.
Yes.
It's crazy here. Yes. There is no such thing here.
Those small things that these people need to learn, I think it will be very, very helpful in the community if we start having most of these kind of focus groups, workshops, to help most of these people just to understand the Canadian culture. These people want to contribute, but then they
don't understand. They don't understand how to do it. How to do it.
Well, you know what's really neat? You just raised an interesting thought.
Yes.
Think about how they're greeted at the airport.
We won't go to that picture
but
of that Polish guy that was...
But I'm just saying that, like, already there's so many formalities.
Yeah.
And we're such a serious culture.
Yeah.
That imagine the first face that you see is this very serious, stern person
looking for something wrong.
Looking for something wrong with you.
Yes.
I just, I commend you and your services, because I think that people really need to feel very welcome and engaged
and really be shown how our culture works.
Exactly,
because our culture is
messed. I mean,
it's different.
It's different. It's unique.
It's very rule
it's
abiding.
Kind of unique as well. Another thing that we can do here is just accepting them for who they are.
Yeah.
Their
parenting skills should be accepted instead, not brought down.
Exactly.
They shouldn't be
a certain type of parenting style.
They should be
imposed.
Exactly. Most of them are coming here for a good reason, and the government as well is having a good reason for bringing them. But sometimes we get shifted away from what really our intentions are and really accepting their own values. So that's something that I think we can do to help.
So now, where are you located exactly in Surrey?
Well, we are located at Wally Boulevard, and it's very close to the King George Sky train station.
Okay. It's right across the street from the big tower there, and basically across the street from Best Buy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
That was okay.
All right. And is there a number that people can get a hold of you at?
Well, actually, we do have it. We do have a number people can call at 604-282-7250.
You also have a website.
Yes, we also have a website, which is www.omajaoperation.ca.
Can you spell Omaja operations for us?
Yes.
Or Omaja?
Yes, so Omaja is UMOJA. Now, this is the sewing room, and this is where basically the women meet. And it's been a program that we've been thinking of expanding in the last years, but we've not got the funding specifically for it. And it will be very, very helpful if some funders might jump in to help in this program. And I think that the program has been basically helping a lot of women who are isolated. That is just the basic idea of it.
No, it's not extremely just limited to women, correct?
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
It's open to everyone.
It's open to everyone, and as well, it's a community intervention. If you look at people who have to go and pay for their things to be kind of repaired, they can as well come in here, and it's done for free. So it's a community service that we render to the.
I have some items.
So do I,
Martha
actually.
Stewart
So
at
do
all.
Yes.
And you should just see me when I was a foster parent trying to sew on Bruce's badge onto his little thing. Yes. I was like getting so flustered, I had to pass it on to Matt.
Yes.
Wow. Anyway, I digress, but Felix.
Yes. All right, well, Felix, I want to thank you very much for coming in. And for those of you, it's Omaja, and it's on the corner of Wally Boulevard and... What would that be?
103?
103? Or?
Yes, it's up to 103.
Yeah, 103. Go see it. Go help out. Be part of your community.
Yeah.
This has been Paula and Terrence for...
The Be Mad Show.
All right. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's so great to have you onto the show, back onto the show, actually. I want you to just give some of the people that are watching a little bit of idea of who you are.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, my name is Laurie Bowie. I work with the City of Surrey. I'm the Healthy Communities Manager in the Recreation Department.
Okay. And so what does that mean, Healthy Communities Manager? I mean, do you walk around and tell people, oh, let me see, no, you don't look healthy? What is that really? What does the city have to do with healthy?
Okay, well, within the Healthy Communities section, we have a team of staff who work on a number of different initiatives that all collectively contribute to building a healthier community. We have a volunteer resources division and a diversity and outreach division and a couple of different areas that are focused on youth.
Okay.
And then we also work with the staff throughout the rest of the recreation department to encourage healthy lifestyles and provide opportunities for community engagement.
So is this kind of reaching out to people from the community centers, or is this really the city going forward and saying, hey guys, here's what we need to do for our community?
I would say both.
Okay.
So we definitely work very closely with the staff that are housed directly in the recreation centers and help build their skill sets in engaging more people, whether it's volunteers or through our youth centers or just through recreation programs in general. And then we also have a huge number of community partners, so various organizations, largely social service organizations, that we partner with to learn more about the groups that they serve and how we can collectively do more to make healthy choices easy choices.
So are you talking about, when you say social service organizations, are you talking about like Girl Scouts, soccer teams, those kinds of things?
Absolutely. The settlement agencies, so the agencies that are looking at making newcomers feel welcome to Surrey.
Okay.
Schools, we work closely with the school district and a number of other organizations like the Cancer Society, Heart and Stroke Foundation that are a little more specific to looking at population health, and then Fraser Health as well.
So within the healthy communities, I guess, you know, it's nice to talk about, you know, what different things there are to access, but who do we want to reach out to really like make aware about these wonderful resources? Like who should we reach out to?
Well, I think we want to reach out to everybody, ultimately. I mean, we do have some programs and initiatives that specifically target families who are faced with more barriers. And that can be, you know, in terms of defining who's vulnerable, you know, you can define that a multitude of different ways. But, you know, we know that some families, you know, are faced with more financial challenges and maybe having difficulty finding employment or affordable housing, or have food security issues, or be new to the community and just feel socially isolated. So, you know, we kind of do our best to just remove as many barriers as possible and learn more about what the barriers are, because, you know, we can't assume to know what the living conditions are that families are faced with. So I think that's, you know, probably one of the most important roles we have right now is just learning more about the community and what are the interests and needs and how can we help to make sure everybody can be engaged and enjoy recreation programs and be healthy.
That's such a huge job because, you know, when you say community, Surrey is so diverse in culture, so diverse. I mean, you've got your South Asians that are East Indian, you've got your South Asians that are Chinese, you've got, you know, Black people, African people,
Caucasian.
People.
Yeah.
It's such a huge job. You know, do you sleep?
When you can kind of stop your mind from churning with all those great ideas of other things you need to get involved in. Yeah, I think the diversity is just, it's just such a great resource, though. You know, like if you just the opportunity to work with so many different people and to learn about so many different cultures, and then to see what happens when you bring people together that may not know anything about each other's culture, and just the excitement and sharing, like what are some of the traditions, and the interfaith associations that are out there just educating and trying to, you know, just make it harmonious, right, and comfortable for everybody to enjoy festivals together and to have the opportunity to display what they're proud of, you know.
What are some of the barriers that you've come up with culturally working in this field right now?
Well, cultural barriers, I think, can be defined in a lot of different ways. And, you know, there's definitely the language aspects where, you know, sometimes it's hard to really, you know, connect well enough if we're all trying to be speaking English to even really learn a lot about the cultures. So, you know, certainly that's where a lot of the agencies we work with are our resources and help us to learn more and understand and, you know, and start to bridge some of those communication gaps. And then, you know, the other opportunity, I think, where we learn a lot about culture is just through celebrations and festivals. And, you know, the Fusion Festival would be a big example.
Food is a basic need. And people will come when you bring food.
People will open up. Free food.
And just sharing like different foods, right? Like what's the sort of common dinner in this country or that country? It's really interesting and a great experience for people to just get out and taste it and learn about it. And
I'm West Indian myself, so we do a lot of rice and chicken and meat and avocados. None of that really fits into the, you know, the basic food digest.
Sure it does.
Well, it does, but I mean, we add spices and sugars, and so how do you measure those, right? You know,
like, so what
butter chicken.
Okay.
You know, right? So
all those delicious foods.
The cream and the butter and the.
So I think when it comes to healthy eating, you know, there's some really basic key messages. You know, I'm certainly not a dietitian, but, you know, just to help people better understand some of the key things that you can do that really do make a difference on your health. And probably the two main messages that we try to put forward in all of our healthy living materials, in our cooking classes, in our fitness instructor training programs is around just eating lots of fresh fruits and vegetables. And that's probably the one key thing that, you know, nationwide people don't do enough of.
Yes.
And then secondly would be just drinking more water. You know, all the additional sugars and calories that are consumed through sugary drinks, you know, that makes a big difference as it accumulates. So, you know, the more we can get in the habit of just drinking water and having lots of fresh fruits and vegetables and more variety in our diet, you know, those are the kind of just basic key things to, you know, try having one more serving of fruits and vegetables and slowly kind of ease into making some dietary changes that over time make a big difference.
So say I'm an introvert, which I'm not, but let's
Really?
just say if
Really?
I was.
Come on.
How do we encourage those people and those children to be engaged?
Yeah.
And, you know, if you look at the barriers, you know, like social economics or struggles, how do we as a community reach out to those people when they might not do it
Otherwise
themselves?
become
Right.
engaged.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
how do we do it? How do we help them?
Great
how do we support
question.
them?
Great question. So I think there's some really good examples of where we've been really successful. And in fact, just yesterday I was at a gathering of a bunch of different youth engagement agencies, and the youth were presenting to us.
Yes.
And there were a few examples of the girls who spoke to the group who specifically said, I was not engaged. I felt very isolated. I was shy. And because I had an opportunity to get involved in a group where getting in the door was really comfortable. There wasn't a lot of structure. There was no formality. You didn't have to fit into a certain box in order to join.
Wow.
So joining was really easy. And then once they got involved, they felt really welcome. And I think one of the things that really helped them feel welcome is that people were really interested in their input. You know, so what do you think about this? You know, should we get together and do this particular project? And everybody had to kind of provide some input into whether they wanted to do it in the first place, but also how they would do it together and what the end product would be. And
that sort of sounds like responsive curriculum. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's responding to the interests of the community and people and where they're
exactly
and what they want to do. And you know, so often we think that we have the answers, but our children and youth have the answers. So what do you think we should do?
Yeah.
What would you like to see happen?
You know, one of the things that I've learned about just recently too is some of the schools, they actually have a is it a lunch program? It's a lunch program, right? Where they actually supply the kids with local farm vegetables and fruits and food and stuff like that. How is that program working? And is that through all the public schools or?
I'm not too sure. It sounds wonderful.
Yeah?
I like
Okay.
the idea of it.
Okay.
I like the idea of it, and
Alright.
I have heard of something like that,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I couldn't tell you for sure.
And I did some research, and I found that there was one school in Surrey that was doing a breakfast program.
Okay.
Now I'm not quite sure if they continue to do it because again we look at some of those restrictions like finances, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
who's going to fund these programs?
Exactly.
So I think as things get unfolded, we realize that there is definitely a need. You talked about food insecurity. Can you give us just a brief definition of what food insecurity is?
Okay, well, maybe I'll give you the opposite definition. So food security is basically means that people have easy access to food that is healthy and affordable and fits with their cultural preferences. So when people experience food insecurity, sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's just access. It's you know, really far to go to travel to a grocery store that actually has the fresh fruits and vegetables that you're wanting to purchase, or the you know, ingredients that you might need to have your culturally preferred meals. And so there's a number of different elements that contribute to food security. There's also just the actual skills of how to cook a healthy meal, so the life skill of cooking and being safe with food and safe in the kitchen. So there's a number of different factors.
Okay. All right.
So I know briefly we talked when we met with Laurie from Fraser Health about leisure access passes, and something I really want our
Society,
our
culture,
people
community.
watching,
Community?
our community watching, would be to know that there is an ability to access these programs, like Laurie was talking about cooking and youth engagement and just all the wonderful things that the city provides.
Now, I think they're done through the leisure pass. Is that right? They can access them through the leisure pass. Now, if they're low income, I think they can go to the rec center itself and fill out an application.
That's right.
Yeah, and then it costs them less, or I think it's subsidized, correct?
That's right, yeah. So it does help to reduce that financial barrier for families who are experiencing financial difficulties, and it's a very well-received program.
You had brought forth this paper here, Social Detriments.
Social Determinants of Health,
sorry,
yes.
Determinants, no glasses, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
And did you want to touch upon a few of those? I think we have a few minutes left here.
Sure.
I'll let you take it away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the Social Determinants of Health is a model of what makes individual families and communities healthy based on living conditions. So the research behind it illustrates very clearly that it's one thing to make healthy lifestyle choices, to eat well and exercise and manage stress, and those are really important factors in terms of your health outcomes. But probably more influential factors are the ones that actually impact your living conditions. Okay. And two of the key ones are income and education.
There's housing as well,
Absolutely.
Right? Housing.
Housing, food security, the education and income, depending who you're speaking to, which goes first is often debated. Are you going to make a better income because you have more education, or if you come from a family, exactly. If you have a higher income family, then do you have more education opportunities? So it's kind of a chicken before the egg kind of debate, but definitely those are two key factors. So I think from a community perspective, the more we can do to reduce barriers, the more we can do to help kids stay in school and to build skills so that people are more interested in pursuing post-secondary opportunities, and therefore increasing their earning income as adults, and which then contributes back to the economy as well as social aspects of the community. So.
And their own children.
Absolutely, absolutely, and their self-esteem and independence. So. You can see where there's so many of those factors where if you're, facing that barrier day in, day, it definitely wears on your health.
Exactly.
Well, I think having you here is it's so refreshing and so nice to get your point of view, and I always learn a great deal from you, Laurie. So thanks.
Yeah,
and
welcome.
You're beautiful too.
Oh. Well, thank you.
I had to throw that in.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for coming on to the show.